Good evening and welcome to the 24th Annual Literary Awards, a signature event of the Library of Virginia Foundation. I'm Pia Trigiani, and I'm honored to serve as chair of the Library of Virginia Foundation Board. My role this evening, to share a little bit about the work of the library and the foundation, the talented librarians, archivists, historians who have dedicated themselves to preserving and sharing the treasures that reflect Virginia's rich history and culture. To express thanks to our supporters, to encourage more of you to become supporters, and then to get this annual celebration of Virginia authors underway. We have many people to thank for producing this week of programming to celebrate Virginia authors. But before we do, a brief commercial, if you will allow, about the library and the Library of Virginia Foundation. The Library of Virginia will soon celebrate 200 years as the keeper of the treasures of the Commonwealth. The library is known across the country and internationally as one of the best sources for genealogical research. But the library is home to a lot more. The working papers of the governors of Virginia, circuit court records, state publications, maps, vital records, and the state art collection, just to name a few. And perhaps one of our biggest and most important functions, the library is the glue that connects and serves as the funding clearinghouse for the network of Virginia public libraries. 325 libraries that are part of 94 different systems, from Virginia Beach to Big Stone Gap, where we grew up. The Library of Virginia Foundation is a separate tax-exempt organization that raises support for the library, for timely exhibits, wonderful programs, and preservation of the special treasures that are entrusted to the library's care. Most recently, as an example of the important work that the foundation does, we approved funding for public librarian training, a program in the past that would have been funded by tax revenue. Library programming includes initiatives that will allow us to reach across the Commonwealth to serve all Virginians. With the challenges presented to us all by COVID-19, many activities at the library were suspended with abbreviated hours of operation, but the library continues to find ways to serve our customers. The library has, like many institutions, taken advantage of technology to connect with patrons. Our website is robust, expanded almost weekly with access to new resources. The library reaches over 4 million people each year through in-person and virtual programs, including 3 programs just this week offered free of charge as part of our Literary Awards celebration. While the Library of Virginia is a state institution, the ability to serve the Commonwealth is becoming more reliant on charitable gifts every day. A combination of careful stewardship of state tax dollars and decades-old budget cuts, from which the library has never fully recovered, have significantly impacted library operations. Contributions from library patrons, people like you who love and support libraries, are increasingly important and essential. I'm grateful to lead a board that understands the importance of ensuring that the library can continue to provide important services. The work of our board is focused on increasing support for the library. Sandy Joya Treadway, Librarian of Virginia, is an inspired leader. You'll hear from her this evening. We are grateful for her work, particularly her skill at doing more with less. She is a supportive partner of the Foundation Executive Director, Scott Dodson, and his team. While the library's leadership and staff daily attack the challenge of finding new ways to serve Virginians, under Scott's leadership, the foundation is focused on cultivating much-needed financial support for the library's important work. I, for one, have never felt more motivated to support this exceptional institution. We invite you to join us in this important effort by making a gift this evening. You'll see across the screen this evening banners that give you, here's one coming up right now, that shows you how to connect to the library and make a gift. We have had the generous support from a growing cadre of loyal library fans, but one of our most faithful corporate partners has been Dominion Energy, which is our presenting sponsor this evening. Dominion Energy provides support for this and other programs that the library does, but also invests in the library by sharing the talent of her personnel. You'll hear in a moment from one of those key personnel who has been a generous volunteer at the library. Dominion Energy is indeed a model of strong corporate citizenship. So we thank you. Thank you, Dominion Energy, for your gifts of treasure and human capital to the library. Joining Dominion Energy as literary award sponsors this year are Blue Edge Capital, Mercer Trigiani, my law firm, the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, who is a fabulous partner, and of course, Carol and Marcus Weinstein. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you also to Liz and Preston Bryant. Preston served as chair of the Library of Virginia Board, Anna Moser, who's currently a member of the Foundation Board, and Peter Schwartz, her husband, past Foundation president. Joseph Papa, who chairs these literary awards, and John Stewart Marquette. Jana and Mark Leibson. Mark's a great author and past member of our board. Kathy and Steve Rogers. Steve was past president of the foundation, and Catherine Neville for her continued support of the Marilyn Cotts Award. We celebrated Gaylord Torrance last evening, and it was a phenomenal presentation by him of his new book. A few more thank yous. Thank you to our amazing Literary Awards Committee, Joseph Papa, Jordana Kaufman, and with a special nod to our host for this evening, my sister, Adriana Trigiani, who works closely with Joseph, Jordana, and Scott. Thank you to the foundation staff led by Scott Dodson. I've mentioned him several times, with special recognition to Dawn Greggs for being the producer and organizer in chief of this program, this second virtual Literary Awards. And thank you to our dedicated judges who read and evaluated our nominees. That's quite a process. We had close to 140 nominations this year. They read each and every book and poem, and without their Herculean efforts, we would not have our finalists and winners this evening. And finally, thank you to the talented Virginia authors who share their hearts, souls, and works with us. Their talent cheers and sustains us. One last invitation to you to become a supporter of the library. You can join us in supporting the library by calling 804-692-3599 or visiting the link on your screen or in the comments. On behalf of all of us at the Library of Virginia, we thank you, our supporters, and our library patrons, citizens of the Commonwealth whom we serve. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce Corinne Arnett, the Foundation Board Treasurer and Senior Vice President of Regulatory Affairs and Customer Service for Dominion Energy. Again, we so appreciate Dominion Energy sharing her with us, and I know she will have a great message. Thank you, and enjoy the program this evening.
All right, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Dominion Energy family, it's a real pleasure to be with you tonight to celebrate some of Virginia's extraordinary writers. Or rather, I should say, Virginia's extraordinary authors, because I think there's a difference, isn't there? Writers write all sorts of things, technical manuals, reports at work, and all these kinds of writings are necessary and valuable. Authors, though, such as the authors we celebrate tonight, They do something that transcends ordinary writing to me. They create works that affect us, that change how we think about the world, how we think about other people, how we think about ourselves and our place in the world. And that's a powerful gift. At Dominion Energy, we work with different kinds of power. We provide the energy people need to live their lives. We deliver light and warmth. And as crucial as they are, that light and that warmth are transitory. A flip of the switch can shut them off. But the light and the warmth that are powered by literature, now that's permanent. The knowledge and understanding we gain from nonfiction stays with us always. So do the stories and characters we come to know from fiction, and the wisdom and beauty we draw from poetry. An institution such as the Library of Virginia work their own special magic by preserving and sharing authors' works. So for many years, Dominion Energy has been proud to sponsor the library's literary awards. We support those who might make life better for others, both today and into the future. That includes the library, which enriches and sustains our culture, and authors such as those with us tonight, who enrich and sustain our minds and our souls. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to a great evening.
Good evening. I'm Sandy Treadway, the Librarian of Virginia, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you and to join Pia and Corinne in welcoming you to the 24th Annual Library of Virginia Literary Awards celebration. We're delighted you have joined us tonight to celebrate the finest works by Virginia authors or on a Virginia subject. I know many of you watching are regular attendees at our in-person gala every year, and we thank you for that continuing support. And here's hoping we can raise a glass in person again next year to celebrate Virginia's literary heritage. Over the years, we have recognized such outstanding Virginia authors as Lee Smith, Tom Robbins, Barbara Kingsolver, David Baldacci, Rita Dove, John Grisham, Tom Wolfe, Earl Hamner, Nikki Giovanni, and many other authors whose names may not be quite as well known, but whose writing has made a significant impact on our lives. The writers we honor tonight carry on that tradition of excellence. Their works touch our minds, our hearts, and our souls. The library is proud not only to promote the work of Virginia authors, but to assist them in developing new pieces. Many past winning nonfiction works, more than a few novels, and even a few works of poetry, began here with research in the collections of the Library of Virginia. We're proud that our incredible collections play such an important part in the development of new literary works. Now, as you know, an evening like this evening could not happen without a lot of hard work. And I'd like to join Pia in thanking the members of the Literary Awards Planning Committee who have outdone themselves ensuring that we keep this tradition alive and well in the virtual realm. I'd also like to express my thanks to the judges who have read and reviewed all the nominated works and made the tough calls because they had to pick the winners from some outstanding finalists. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our host for this evening, Adriana Trigiani. This is Adriana's 14th year hosting the library's literary awards, and we are profoundly grateful and we are truly blessed to have her. She's a New York Times bestselling author of 20 books published in 38 countries across the world. Beloved by millions of readers for her dazzling novels, she's also an award-winning playwright, television writer, producer, and filmmaker. She's always juggling many projects at the same time, but she always has time to give to others. She has been a mentor to so many new and aspiring writers, and the Origin Project, which is an in-school writing program that she co-founded, encourages young people to find their voices and hone their creative writing skills. I'm thrilled to tell you that this December, she will publish her first children's book called The House of Love. And next spring, her latest novel, The Good Left Undone, will hit the shelves of bookstores near you. Ladies and gentlemen, Here she is, Virginia's own, the one and the only, Adriana Trigiani.
Thank you, Sandra. Oh, that was the most beautiful introduction. Most importantly, the work you're doing, which is why we're here tonight with all these great authors. And we want to thank you for everything that you do. Corinne, without the lights on, without the electricity, I'm afraid to tell you there would be no books, there'd be no writing. So you do a lot more than you know you do. We appreciate the warmth, and that's coming up this winter, and we're going to need it. And my sister Pia, too. That was beautiful. Sandy, you're very good about being so grateful to everybody. And, I know that, the bedroom slippers that I was going to get my sisters for Christmas are probably stuck on a barge outside of Los Angeles on the water somewhere. So I think this year, let's all make a donation to the Library of Virginia in the name of people we love. I think it's the way to go. And the library will send a beautiful card out. Oh, you can put it in a box, wrap it up, give it with a bow. Because libraries matter. They are the cultural centers of our community. And without them, we're really nothing. Don't you agree, Sandra?
Absolutely, 100%. And your support, too, comes from the heart. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Listen, without the bookmobile, I wouldn't be here. Wise County Bookmobile. Yeah. And this is a sad note, but a happy note, and the same thing, because now he's singing with the Angels. James Varner, our bookmobile librarian. He was the librarian for almost 40 years. And he was the best. By the time the truck got to our town, I'll admit that the pickings were a little slim. On the last stop, you get there and what's left is the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. But he tried. He did well. Kids in the next town did better. But we thank you.
Thank you.
And now we're going to get on with the show here.
It's all yours.
Thank you. Oh, is she fantastic? We're in the best hands. We're in the best hands in the state of Virginia. And wait till you see the superstar lineup that's coming. And I'm so happy that you're here. And thank you also, Sandy, for mentioning the Origin Project, which was co-founded with Nancy Bollmeyer Fisher. We just had our first big event with Val Emick, and we're planning to do more things with the library. So I'm very excited about that. Okay. We're going to start with the People's Choice Awards. Now, I love a People's Choice Award because all across the state, bookmobiles, aforementioned, and libraries, it's like a can or a box, and you're allowed to vote, you the reader. There's no filter. We just count them up, just like when you ran for student body president or not, we count up the votes, and that's the winner. So, that already puts a patina on this award. We've got these expert judges, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But really, when the people pick, it's pretty impressive. Okay. Now, who picks the finalists? Let me just make that really clear. Our beloved librarians pick them. The independent booksellers in your town, like my friend over, she's like 10 feet from Fountain Bookstore, Kelly Justice. People are right there. They're like 2 minutes away. Our own library gift shop carries all the books of all the winners. You can get them through our store. And then the winners are in categories in fiction and nonfiction, are voted for either in person or online, which is great. So this year, listen, I wanted to pull out the stops this year. These presenters this year are fantastic. They're fantastic. The first person is a #1 New York Times bestselling author. He's about as big as you get in books. He wrote some books that are so beloved, and he has one out right now that I'm crazy about. My friend Lorenzo Carcaterra. Today happens to be his birthday, which we're excited. Hey, Lorenzo.
Hi, Adri.
I want to talk about sleepers. #1, Apaches, gangsters, street boys, and of course, 3 Dreamers, which is about the 3 essential women in your life.
Yeah, my Nona Maria.
Yes.
My wife, Susan, my late wife, Susan, and my mother, Rafaela. Yeah.
And it's the most beautiful book, everybody, and you must get it for the women in your life, your best girlfriends, your mom, your grandma. It is I think it's Lorenzo at really the height of his powers. But Lorenzo, you're going to give away the People's Choice Nonfiction, so I'm going to punt it to you.
All right.
But happy birthday.
Thank you, sweetheart. Before I get to that, I want to say something about Adriana. In addition to being super talented and working so hard, and she is always there if you need her. She is all heart and all soul, and that's as much as you can ask from anybody. She is a great person, and it's an honor not only for me but for my entire family to know her. All right, so thank you all so much. It's a pleasure to be with you for this evening. Thank you for inviting me, and let's get to it. The finalists for this year's People's Choice Award in Nonfiction include books that comment on the history of Virginia, bring to light new ideas surrounding our founding fathers, and comment on the challenges we still face together as a nation. I always wanted to say this. The finalists, I was going to say the nominees are. The finalists are Lynn Cheney, the Virginia Dynasty, 4 Presidents and the Creation of the American Revolution. Alexis Coe, You Never Forget Your First, a biography of George Washington. Tiffany Jana and Michael Barron, Subtle Acts of Exclusion, How to Understand, Identify, and Stop Microaggressions. Betty Kersey, The Other Madisons, The Lost History of a President's Black Family. Thomas E. Ricks, First Principles, What America's Founders Learned from the Greeks and Romans and How that Shaped Our Country. And David Wright and Anthony Chicomo, The Captain. And the winner is Betty Kersey for The Other Madisons, The Lost History of a President's Black Family. Congratulations, Betty, on your well-deserved award.
Thank you, Lorenzo. For me, this is a wonderful celebration of 30 years of research, writing, and soul searching. And it feels especially good that this award is from the readers. So thank you, readers.
Beautiful, Betty. Your book is glorious. And I recommend everybody get it tonight. It's just, first of all, you mined a story that a lot of us didn't know. And the research that you did is unparalleled. And we know that does take a long time. But 30 years, we are all, and I join you with all the other nominees in congratulating you on a great, great book.
Thank you.
I wish we were together. Next year.
Okay.
All righty. I'll see you then. Thank you, Betty. That book is so good. I need to have her on Facebook Live. We're going to get her. Fantastic. Okay. So now it's my job to recognize the judges and thank them for all their hard work in reading. Now, I'm going to tell you, we all love to read, or we wouldn't be at this presentation tonight, because even whether you're an author or a writer, whatever you do, you're a reader first. That's the first thing you learn. You learn how to read, right? You learn your letters, you learn how to read. And reading is a different experience for everybody that reads a book. You'll read Betty's book and everybody's going to take away something different from it, which is what makes books really the heart and soul of humanity, because it's our thoughts all together here. So in nonfiction, they had to read and discuss over 150 books. Now, if you go back to 4 years of college and graduate school, it might add up to 150, but I don't know. They had to do this within a calendar year. So we not only thank them, we send them a gift certificate to Warby Parker's. I'm kidding, because you'll need glasses after this. Okay, nonfiction is Megan Shockley. Thank you, Megan. Mark Leibson. Thank you, Mark. And John Kukla. Thank you, John. In fiction, Christine A. Patrick. Thank you, Christine. Janet Peary. Thank you, Janet. And Ann Westrick. Thank you so much, Ann. In poetry, we have, I love all of them, Michael Chitwood. Thank you, Michael. Luann Keener McCanus. Thank you, Luann. And Jennifer Resor Wicker. Thank you, Jen. And if you will please, in cyberspace, or if it's a drinking game, have a swig. Join me in thanking our incredibly magnificent, wonderful judges in this year. Thank you. All right, so now we're going to do the People's Choice in Fiction. So this year, you know, we always get together and we say, well, who should the presenters be? And we want to introduce you to folks, okay? Because this is as much about what you're going to read next as about what you read this year. And one of my new faves is Karma Brown. I know, isn't that like the greatest name in the world? Anyhow, this is the story of Karma. She's the best-selling author of 5 novels, the #1 bestseller, Recipe for a Perfect Wife. If you haven't read it, run. Come Away with Me, a Globe and Mail Best Book of 2015, which is start to be a giveaway. You're going to find out in a second that she's Canadian. Globe and Mail and Toronto Star bestsellers, The Choices We Make, In This Moment, and The Life Lucy Knew. Now, Karma's also the author of the bestseller, The 4% Fix, How 1 Hour Can Change Your Life. So for those of you who love your fiction and you like your nonfiction with some advice, get that book. It's fantastic. A National Magazine award-winning journalist, Karma has been published in Chatelaine, Canadian Living, Self, Red Book, and Today's Parent, among many other publications. She lives just outside Toronto with her husband, daughter, and a Labradoodle named Fred. Ladies and gentlemen, Karma Brown.
Hello.
How are you, Karma?
I'm so good. Thank you. I wish that you could just walk around with me and introduce me all the time, Adrian.
I'm on my way, baby. Okay, you know I love Toronto.
I would love that.
Thank you. Well, good luck, and we'll see you when it's all over.
Okay. We'll see you soon. Dear. Thank you so much for having me. And it's a real pleasure to be with you this evening to introduce the People's Choice Award for Fiction. The nominees for this year's People's Choice Award in Fiction include the story of an FBI agent's search for her abducted sister, a family grappling with heartbreak, romance, and secrecy, a daring diamond heist gone horrifically wrong, a soulful look at 3 generations of Cherokee women, a powerful courtroom thriller, and the enigmatic denizens of the Marcius Island orphanage. So the finalists are, and that does feel fancy to say that, I like it, David Baldacci for Daylight, Rachel Beanland for Florence Adler Swims Forever, S.A. Cosby for Blacktop Wasteland, Kelly Jo Ford for Crooked Hallelujah, John Grisham for A Time for Mercy, and T.J. Klune for The House in the Cerulean Sea. And the winner is John Grisham for A Time for Mercy. Congratulations.
Hi, I'm John Grisham of Charlottesville, Virginia. And I want to thank the Library of Virginia Literary Awards Committee for naming my novel, A Time for Mercy, one of the 6 finalists in the category of People's Choice Award for Fiction. And I want to thank the very intelligent voters who voted to select my novel as the winner. A Time for Mercy was published a year ago, October 2020, here in the US and the UK. It is now being translated into over 54 languages around the world. This is always gratifying. It's always fun to collect the foreign editions. It's also nice to be appreciated at home. So I thank you for this award.
Good evening. I'm Scott Dodson, Executive Director of the Library of Virginia Foundation. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you again for joining us this evening and to recognize Dominion Energy for their continued commitment to the library. While we continue to look forward to a time when we can all celebrate together in person, our second year of virtual programming has again made this a special Virginia Literary Awards. You've not had a chance to see any of the 3 finalist panels or the Cotts lecture this past week. They, along with tonight's ceremony, will continue to live on the library's Facebook and YouTube pages. I encourage you to hear firsthand from our fantastic finalists and amazing moderators, Kristen Green, Brad Parks, and Anna Scotti. I would like to thank the authors and moderators for their time this week and openness about their work. I offer a sincere thank you to the Library of Virginia and Library of Foundation staff. Their dedication to the people of Virginia, the institution, and its work is paramount in understanding Virginia's past to empower its future. Without them, none of the library's work is possible. I would also like to recognize Library Board Chair Blai Scott, Library Foundation Board Chair Adriana Trigiani, and the Library and Foundation boards for their tremendous leadership and thoughtful advice as they help guide the Library of Virginia through the end of its first 200 years and beyond. I am sure I speak for all of us at the Library and Foundation when I say we are tremendously grateful for your guidance and encouragement. Keep pushing us. The Library of Virginia Foundation's work is to find the vital resources that help the library collect, preserve, and share the stories of Virginia. While the library is a state agency, much of its work, especially in the areas of education, historic preservation, and public programming, would not be possible without support from people like you. Tonight, I again ask you to consider supporting the library's work by calling 804-692-3900 or visiting the link on your screen or in the comments. On behalf of all of us at the Library of Virginia, I thank you in advance for your support. Before I introduce our next presenter, I would like to also acknowledge the incredible 9-year partnership with the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts and express sincere gratitude to Nick and Marilyn Cotts, Catherine Neville, Alex Nargis and his staff, most notably Lisa Parrish, and many others for their commitment to this collaboration with the next award. With that, please let me introduce VMFA's Director and Chief Executive Officer, Alex Nargis, to welcome the Art and Literature Marilyn Cotts Award. Alex?
Well, thank you very much. And good evening, everybody. It is a great pleasure to be here before you. I wish we were together, and maybe next year the pandemic will be far in the rearview mirror. So we look forward to that. I want to say thank you to Sandy Treadway for all that she does in this partnership with the Library of Virginia and the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. We really appreciate this. And we're actually honored in a superb sort of way to be part of these literary awards, because art and literature and the art museum world and the library world are inseparable. In fact, we have one of the best art libraries on the entire East Coast, in fact, in America. And I want to say thanks to Lee Kepperish, our chief librarian, and all of our library staff for everything they do to make us a scholarly destination, both for the books that we hold, but then also for the archives and special collections, which are extensive. This is the 9th year of collaboration between the Library of Virginia and the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. And I believe Mary Lynn is with us watching the live stream video from her home in Washington. I just want to say hi, Mary Lynn, and thank you. This award honors you for all that you've done. She is a best-selling author. In fact, her book, a tome is the only way to describe it, that is from about 35 years ago now, on Robert Rauschenberg, is still the volume on Rauschenberg and his career. Marilyn was a best-selling author. She's been a journalist and a Virginian. So we appreciate being able to honor you and have this honor for such a distinguished book this year and every year. And this award is actually fairly unique in a couple of ways. First of all, it can be for a work of prose or poetry. And this year, it is the first time an exhibition catalog has ever received the award. The award is also the only national unique award that is part of the Virginia Literary Awards, and we're just proud that we can tie art and literature together in that way. Tonight, it's my honor that this award goes to Gaylord Torrance for his exceptional book, Continuum, Native American Art at the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, published by the University of Washington Press. I've got to show you this because it's a volume. In fact, it's heavy to pick up. Fabulous read, excellent book on every level, and adds measurably to the field of Native American art in this country. Often overlooked, but the Nelson has been a leader in this country, and Gaylord Torrance has been the leader moving them along. In fact, he was the visionary curator who assembled the great collection at the Nelson, and this book, 280 objects, most of which have never been published before. It's an incredible volume. This book is going to be on the shelf of every curator of Native American art, and for that matter, every American art curator in this country. Gaylord Torrance is the curator emeritus and the founding Fred and Virginia Merrill Senior Curator of American Indian Art at the Nelson Atkins Museum of Art in Kansas City. He's also professor emeritus of fine arts at Drake University. And during his 18-year tenure at the Nelson, he built much of the institution's great collection of Native American art. The galleries that he shepherded opened in 2009 and have been added to. They're absolutely extraordinary. If you've not been to Kansas City and to the Nelson, it's one of the great museums in this country, and it's a real destination. In addition to his work at the Nelson, he curated the first installation of Native American art at the American Wing at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Now, this is probably not something everyone knows, but Native American art often and traditionally has been shuttled off to natural history museums, and Native American artists did not get the due and recognition that they deserved. But that's changed, and Gaylord Torrance has helped to do that with traditional Native American art and contemporary. In fact, it's an astounding volume, which I think you will enjoy. In addition to the many exhibitions that he's done, the Plains Indian Artists of Earth and Sky, which was organized by the Musée K. Branly in Paris. It traveled to the Nelson and to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. He's done numerous other exhibitions that have traveled to exhibition centers and museums across this country, including Harvard University, the University of Iowa Museum of Art, the Des Moines Art Center, and he is currently serving as the guest curator at the Heard Museum in Phoenix and serves as a curatorial consultant on Native American art. It is my pleasure, and I'd like to say thank you for all you've done and to welcome our award winner, Gaylord Torrance.
Thank you very much, Alex, for that generous introduction. And my thanks to the Library of Virginia and the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. It's a pleasure to be here in person. I'm honored to accept on behalf of myself, Nelson Atkins Museum of Art, and many others. For this project, of course, was a collaborative effort in every dimension. I'd like to begin by recognizing the nearly 300 Native American artists from across North America and time whose works are represented in this catalog. And I must say that the opportunity that I've had for an intimate association with these works and through them, their creators, named and unnamed, has been a rich and powerful experience that I'll never forget. I also want to recognize the many donors who supported the acquisition of these works for the museum. My associate curator, Marjorie Alexander, designer Pat Appleton, the team of scholars, including W. Richard West, founding director and director emeritus of the National Museum of the American Indian, various photographers working at the Nelson through time, editors Jonathan Fogel and Terry Ann Neff, Meridian Press, key members of the staff of the Nelson Atkins, many Native American partners, all of whom contributed their insights, their dedication, their expertise to the book's creation, and to our partner in distribution, the University of Washington Press. And finally, to our patrons who made this publication possible. To all, I'm extremely grateful. Our goal in this book was simply to place Native art firmly within the context of American art, to recognize the achievement, to contrast it with Western art and at times relate it, and to give it voice that would be meaningful to a wide audience. Receiving the Cotts Award is a great affirmation for all of us. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gaylord. You know, you have achieved something that is really essential. So much of what goes on in our culture can be called silly. And what you've done is you've gotten your hands in the dirt and you have brought to us, I mean, the book is a work of art, but what it teaches us through these beautiful images is all that can be lost if on the front lines there aren't the Gaylords of the world focusing and saying, no, this is important, and then bringing all of your team along with you. I want everyone to buy the book tonight because I think it should be in every American home, because you've done something that we've needed for a very long time.
Thank you so much.
The Native American culture was, they had museums and libraries, and I don't think there's a swath of Americans that even understand that. And you certainly, with this beautiful book, have changed that. The conversation is on now, thanks to you.
Thank you.
And thank you. Congratulations. You deserve it. I wish I could have been there last night, but we'll meet you next year.
Great. I'll count on it.
Okay, my friend. Thank you. Oh, the book, you have to get the book. I mean, it's for, a lot of Virginians have lineage in the Native American community. And even if you don't, it's a book that illuminates really the creative, soulful, transcendent spirit of the Native American. So please get it. And for somebody who's very special in your life, please get it, because you won't believe it when you have it in your hands, how beautifully it's published and put together. I also want to thank Alex. Oh, Alex Nargis. Did he have a voice where I was being lulled to another plane with that voice? He is very, very attractive. Okay. And, only I can say that because we're in cyberspace. And if I'd say it if we were in person. But I want to talk for a second, because I'm about to talk about two different women. I have one in the bullpen ready to give an award. But I want to talk about Marilyn Cotts. One of the reasons I kept coming back to the Library of Virginia every year was Mary Lynn, because she is, ladies and gentlemen, the real deal. She's a talented author. She's a bestseller. A journalist. But what she cares about is encouraging every creative person she meets to get the word out, get their message out. She doesn't care what the message is in particular. Although, if you look at the awards through the years, she's serving to us American history and American art in a whole new, delicious way, introducing us to missions and authors we would never, ever meet. I adore her. I look forward to seeing her every year. And Mary Lynn, I can't wait for next year. But she's a national treasure and a Virginian, well, just one of our greatest ever in the history of our Commonwealth. Now, Carol Weinstein, well, listen, I love Carol Weinstein like a girlfriend, okay? She loves poetry. And so she's made poetry a mission. And, poets are often forgotten, or poets are pushed aside, or poets are, somebody said I'm going to read a poem today. We've precious few publications that feature poetry, precious few. But Carol and her adorable husband, Marcus, they're so kind and so generous, and they want those voices heard. So let me tell you a little bit about her. She is so present, Carol Weinstein, at the Library of Virginia. I mean, people know her when she passes through. She's done so much for the library that we've come to rely on her for her taste and her vision. She's going to be on camera from her neck up. She said she's wearing her biggest jangly earrings in honor of me. Oh my gosh, Carol, I love you. Ladies and gentlemen, Carol Weinstein. Carol with the E, like Carol Lombard for anybody who knew the great Carol Lombard's movies, I loved her. You, okay, first of all, you are drop dead freaking gorgeous.
Oh.
I'm kind of matching you a little. I'm trying anyway. You look gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Always, I don't know. There's something I felt like I wanted you to be here so you could put your foot on the desk and I could see what shoes you were wearing.
Well, tonight they involve Sherpa. So
yeah, well, I'm only dressed from the kind of the waist.
I know, right. You got sweats. Me too. I mean, I'm thankful from the waist up. So, I love you, Carol, and thank you for everything.
Thank you.
And
what you said about me and poetry is right on. It's such a pleasure. It's really an honor to be able to present the award for poetry. Of all the genres and genre blends these days, poetry has always been my favorite. One reason might be that my dad always read poems to us kids out loud. He loved it. He loved the sound, and he would recite even, he'd need the page in front of him. So his love sort of got passed down to us that way. Another reason, and Adriana's already sort of referred to this, is because it's almost inevitable that when someone asks me what I'm reading these days, and I reply, a poetry collection by, and I'll name the author, their lips purse like they've been asked to take a little bite of octopus. Yuck. I don't eat raw fish. As the self-appointed defender and champion of poets everywhere, I am politely agreeable, and I reply, sometimes it takes me a little while to get into a poem also, but it's always worth the effort. Often an image or phrase is so perfect, it's so remarkable that it stuns me, and I savor it for days. So just take a little bite and you'll see what I mean. The three nominees for this year's Poetry Award are Bill Glose for Postscript to War, which examines the long-lasting effects of battle injuries that are invisible to the naked eye. Annie Kim for Eros Unbroken, which is a dialogue between two musicians in the 18th century Spain on the nature of friendship and creativity. And Kiki Petrosino for White Blood, a lyric of Virginia, which describes the legacies of slavery and discrimination in the Upper South. And the winner is Annie Kim for Eros Unbroken. Congratulations, Annie.
Thank you so much, Carol. I'm so grateful to have you as a defender of poetry and to receive this wonderful distinction from the Library of Virginia, even though I'm here in a hotel room in New York and not back at home in Charlottesville, Virginia. But I just wanted to say a brief word of thanks and tell you how much this means to me, because I remember many years ago as a young lawyer, first walking into the Library of Virginia in Richmond. I had at that time the very unglamorous task of rifling through boxes of archival state water control board records as part of a major lawsuit that I was working on. So I spent days in the library. But even then, I was wowed by the splendor and the grandeur of the library and the fine tradition that it had. And I had no idea that years later I'd be accepting an award for poetry or that I'd be writing poetry. So this is an exceptional honor, and I'm so thrilled to have it. Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations. Be well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Annie. Annie wrote into the, we have this thread that goes, like we call it the panic thread, like if something goes wrong, where we talk amongst ourselves in the chat room. But as Carol was talking about her father, I remember my dad reading us Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. Now, why you would read that poem to children, I have no idea. But my dad used to read us that poem. And then when we got to go to Charlottesville for some, whenever there was something happening, we all went to Charlottesville. If you grew up in Virginia, like that's where you did your forensic competitions and all those glamorous things. Anyway, so we would go when we were in school, and they showed us the room at the University of Virginia where Edgar Allan Poe lived. It's like on the tour. And so then it kind of all came full circle. And the reason I'm telling you this long story is because poetry stays with you. It becomes a part of your DNA. And now I get it. I never knew about Carol's dad all these many years. And now I understand it. It's her way to connect to her father's beautiful soul and to pull that thread through the world. Really, that's what we're all trying to do as writers, just trying to pull that thread. Now, I think we're in good shape here to move on to our next award, which I'm very excited to do. Another thing about the Library of Virginia, in the years to come, we don't forget anybody. We honor folks, and then there's an award that the family will put together, and then they're with us forever. And a lot of you within the sound of my voice remember Emil Jenkins Sexton. As an author, she wrote these delicious, cozy mysteries that were fantastic. And she was on the foundation board, and she was the person who you could make that call at 3 a.m. and go, I have laryngitis. I can't get on a plane. Well, we wouldn't be laryngitis because you couldn't understand me. But okay, so like, I don't know, a sinus infection. I can't get on an airplane. Can you speak to the such and such? I'm on it. And, she put in her foam rollers and get in the car, and she'd go cover for you. More than that generosity of spirit, the reason she got in the car and would go speak to the group of students or go speak to the garden club where we had promised to be, she wanted to spread the word about literature and reading and the life of writers. And the thing about her was that, well, first of all, her family, love her family. Thing about her, she was a mother, a wife, all those loving, beautiful things. But she was first and foremost a creative spirit who wanted everybody to tap their creativity. She passed away in 2010, which I can't even believe that she has been gone this long. The library's Fiction Award, which, this is, again, that big process of choosing, curating, long listing, short listing, reading 150 books. We changed the name of it to the Emil Jenkins Sexton Fiction Award, and normally her husband would do the presenting. But tonight, I'm thrilled to introduce one of my dear friends, another big superstar in literature today. Her name is Emily Giffin. Now, let me tell you about Emily. Emily's got the Southern hang down. She's a graduate of Wake Forest University, the University of Virginia School of Law. She is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of 10 novels. You know them, you read them, you wait for them to come out every year. Something Borrowed, Something Blue, 2 different books. Baby Proof, Love the One You're With, Heart of the Matter, Where We Belong, The One and Only, First Comes Love. I mean, I love all of these. All We Ever Wanted. Boy, was that great. And The Lies That Bind. I just had Emily, we just had a great conversation about The Lies That Bind. You're going to love it. She currently lives in Atlanta with her husband and 3 children, which in my purview makes her a saint. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Emily Giffin.
Hi, Adri. How are you?
Look at you. You know what we look like? Bumblebees. Okay. We are bumblebees.
It's got a built-in accessory.
Oh, you do? So I'm telling you, it's gorge.
You just
That's
wear
the
a sweater
neckline.
and you don't have to put any jewelry on. No earrings, anything. It's
Oh
perfect.
my God, you look drop dead gorge.
It's so nice to see you on this Saturday night. And I'm still eating those pizzas that you sent.
Good girl. You deserve them.
Best pizza ever.
Honey, all you have to do is tell me you got 3 kids and I'm sending you frozen food.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
Love
but
you.
I'm so excited to be here tonight, and I'm thrilled to announce this award. So without further ado, I always love saying that. Everyone has to say that. Tonight's nominees for the Emil Jenkins Sexton Fiction Award trace 3 generations of a family grappling with heartbreak, romance, and secrecy. The eerily intersecting lives of 9 American dreamers, and a haunting tale set in the last days of the Titanic. This year's fiction finalists are Rachel Beanland's Florence Adler Swims Forever, Brian Castleberry's 9 Shiny Objects, and Alma Katsu's The Deep. And I'm so excited to announce that the winner is Brian Castleberry for 9 Shiny Objects. Brian, congratulations.
Thank you so much, Emily. This is an incredible honor. I'm so grateful. I hate to sound like an Oscar winner or something, but I want to thank a lot of people. I first want to thank the judges for believing in this debut novel, and the Library of Virginia Foundation and everything you do for readers and writers across the state. I want to congratulate Alma and Rachel, brilliant writers themselves, and all the nominees. And I want to thank the Custom House team, my publisher, and my editors, Jeff Chandler and Kate Nitzel, Chad Liebel, my agent, my wife, Crystal, for always pushing me to do my best work. And also, this has been a tough year for everybody. It's been a tough year for writers, and I've been really heartwarmed by the way that writers come together and support each other. And a couple of great Virginia authors that have been supportive friends of mine in the last year, Kelly Jo Ford and Lauren Francis Sharma. I just wanted to give them a shout out tonight. But thank you so much.
Fantastic. Congratulations. You know, you are, you're an exceptional, beautiful writer. And, you know, every book in the category this year, as you pointed out, Rachel and Alma, Brian, they were fantastic too. Yeah. You have a real, I would call it classic Virginia voice. And you are, you know, I'm so happy to meet you here. I wish we were in person, but it's going to become a book over time. I think that's going to become essential reading in our state. I really do.
Thank you so much.
Yep. You're a star, and we'll see you here again, I'm sure.
All right.
With your next one. Thank you. He's a doll. Okay. Is that bad that I say that? I don't know. Who cares? All right. Now get ready, because, you know, as I told you, every presenter tonight is special and has ties to Virginia. Have you caught on to that a little bit? Well, Todd Dowdy spent time in Big Stone Gap. He's our next presenter. Now, we got together and chose Todd because Todd came out with a book just a week ago, folks, called Little Pieces of Hope, which has to be in everybody's Christmas stocking. You can get it at any of our indies, the aforementioned, or at the Library of Virginia store, or wherever you choose to get your books. Little Pieces of Hope is like the man himself that I'm about to bring on the screen. It's the triumph of the small town young man. Todd Dowdy is currently a senior vice president, deputy publisher of Doubleday, and has worked at Penguin Random House for more than 20 years, 2 decades plus. He is a graduate of Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. He's a former bookseller at 4 stores, like a lot. And he lives with his partner in Westchester County, New York. And as I mentioned, Little Pieces of Hope just came out. Get it, savor it. It's a compendium of what you should eat, look at, be inspired by, wear, listen to, and read. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, oh, I could cry, Todd Dowdy. Got that waterproof mascara on.
Hello, my friend.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Now, listen, the fact that you're even here after the tour you just did, it's like you're a dish rag tonight. I tried to text you.
No.
Are you good?
My ringer was off. That's why I didn't hear your call, so I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Leave that ringer off, honey. You don't need me. By the way, this comes on cue from your publicist days. To purchase any of the books by tonight's authors, please visit www.thevirginiashop.org. You can get Todd's book there. You can get any books you want. Emily's. We can get you everything. And with no further ado, my friend, this is your first presentation of a nonfiction book award anywhere in the lower 48.
That's right.
2, right?
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Todd Dowdy.
Thank you, my friend. Good evening, everyone. This year, the nominees for the Nonfiction Award encompass a wide range of books whose subjects include confronting unprecedented issues of life and death under the shadows of centuries of racial injustice, the role of historic cemeteries in the landscape and culture of a major Southern city, and the influence of Black churches and congregations in post-Civil War Virginia. This year's finalists in nonfiction are Chip Jones, The Organ Thieves, the shocking story of the first heart transplant in the segregated South. Ryan Smith, Death and Rebirth in a Southern City, Richmond's Historic Cemeteries. Nicole Myers Turner, Soul Liberty, the Evolution of Black Religious Politics in Post-Emancipation Virginia. And the winner is Chip Jones for The Organ Thieves, the shocking story of the first heart transplant in the segregated South. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Todd. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to be part of your first awards in the lower 48. I'm truly honored to accept this award, and thanks to the talented staff at the Library of Virginia who helped with my research, and to everyone at the Library of Virginia Foundation and the judges, of course. I'd also like to congratulate the other finalists, Nicole Myers Turner and Ryan K. Smith, for their great work and their incredible contributions to the history of Virginia and the United States. So also thanks as well to my wife, Deborah Jones, my partner in research and editing and proofing, to my family, friends, and so many others. These include Jody Costi, the super talented medical archivist at VCU, my agent, Peter McGuigan, Jeremy Ruby Strauss, my editor at Simon & Schuster Gallery Books, and Derek Jeter, who first expressed interest in the book for his publishing imprint, and to the entire team at Simon & Schuster, who are preparing the paperback edition for release early next year. I sincerely hope that this recognition serves to shed more light on the many still untold stories of the mistreatment of Black Virginians by the white-dominated medical, legal, and political systems. And I hope this award encourages state and university leaders to finally honor Bruce Tucker's sacrifice and his family's in the making of medical history. So long live Bruce Tucker, and thank you very much.
You wrote an astonishingly great book and story that we didn't know. Now, isn't that really the crux of everything? When we get to dive into your delicious writing and read something that we had never heard about.
Thank you, Adriana. It's so kind.
You crushed it. So happy for you.
Thank you.
So thrilled for you. You know, it's so important what you do, and we can't wait for your next one. Can you give us a little taste? Do you know what you're doing yet, or is it secret?
You know, Adri, it's funny because I dropped a novel that I started at Hollins years ago with Richard Dillard. So it's growing up as a Marine Corps brat in the high desert of California. So if I can get that published, that will be my next work. And
I hope you'll call me to help.
Okay. My people
here. I want to read that book.
Thank you.
I mean, you're really, you're the real deal too. Congratulations. And you know what? Enjoy the award because, you deserve it.
Well, we really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Take care. And I just would like to say too, Chip, phenomenal. Ryan Smith and Nicole Myers Turner. Okay, Ryan Smith, I mean, nobody that I know of has written about the historical cemeteries in the way he's done, in an in-depth way. Get it? Get Chips and Nicole Myers Turner. Her book, it's so razor sharp into an era that we don't talk about either. That I think is, get it, read it. You learn. Soul Liberty, the evolution of Black religious politics in post-emancipation Virginia. Fascinating. And you can track it all the way to the present day. Thank you, the Holy Trinity of fantastic nonfiction writers. And thank you, Todd Dowdy, for that beautiful intro. He was very smooth. I was very impressed. So I want to thank everybody always for supporting this event. We've got now we're coming into the, this is when we start, popping the champagne, because we have a special guest and an honoree, and we've been waiting all night for this. I want to, because let me just tell you, I'm going to give you my 19 cents, because by the time we get to the end, I hate to say it, people get a little like, it's enough for her. The honoree tonight, before I introduce Blythe, I'll have her come on. I just want to say a couple of things and why you're going to be riveted to this next presentation. Michael Paul Williams really became a writer through the newspaper system. And our freedom of speech has taken such a hit because our newspapers are collapsing. And that's where everybody from, listen, we can name 50 of them, but let's say Edna Ferber, similar backstory to Michael Paul, similar. Cut their teeth, learning to write stories, to tell the truth. So I'm looking forward to this tonight. This is really going to be a treat for you. I want to first welcome Blai Scott, who is the Library of Virginia Board Chair, which is a lot of work, and she's fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Blai Scott.
Hello. Thank you, Adriana.
Blai, really, you crushed it.
Oh,
I mean, what a beautiful array of talent tonight. I really, truly.
I am
something.
so honored to be here. Thank you so much for your introduction. I'm just going to say good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this weekend tonight. Also, a heartfelt thanks to all of you who have chosen to join me in financially supporting the Library of Virginia, and to the Library of Virginia Foundation Board for their expert stewardship. Thanks to all of our sponsors and our title sponsor, Dominion Energy, one last time. Thanks to the Library of Virginia Board for your time and talents. I am truly honored to serve as your chair. Thanks to the staff for your dedication and hard work. And thanks to all of our friends of the library. We could not be without you. It is now my pleasure to introduce tonight's special guest. Michael Paul Williams is a Metro columnist whose opinion pieces appear on the op-ed page of the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Williams, a Richmond native, is a graduate of Virginia Union University and Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism. He has won Virginia Press Association awards for column writing in 1992, 1994, 2007, and 2014. During the 1999-2000 year, he was one of 24 U.S. and international journalists awarded a Nieman Fellowship at Harvard University. And in 2021, he was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for commentary for penetrating and historically insightful columns that guided Richmond, the former capital of the Confederacy, through the painful and complicated process of dismantling the city's monuments to white supremacy. He was the 2010 recipient of the George Mason Award for Outstanding Contributions to Virginia Journalism, given by the Virginia Pro Chapter of the Society for Professional Journalists. This was the same year that readers of Richmond Magazine voted him as Best Local Columnist. 16 years after, he was their choice as the local newspaper columnist who makes you want to tear up the paper. Williams is proud of both awards. He has also received a 2012 Humanitarian Award from the Virginia Center for Inclusive Communities and the 2014 Will Rogers Humanitarian Award from the National Society of Newspaper Columnists, the latter for work that has positively affected readers' lives and produced tangible benefits for the community. Before Mr. Williams joins us this evening, the library would like to present him with an honorary award in recognition of his distinguished contributions to journalism in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Thank you so very much for your significant impact in sharing the history and story of Virginians. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's honoree, Michael Paul Williams.
Thank you so much, Blythe. And thank you, Library of Virginia, for this award. And congratulations to all the talented writers, literary figures who are being recognized tonight. To be recognized by the official library of the state of Virginia is a special and unique honor for me because it reflects the trajectory of Virginia from a state that was long dedicated to systems of oppression of people of color to one that is recognizing and embracing inclusion. Most of the journalists that I know and respect have shed the shackles of false objectivity and are determined to change the Virginia narrative, one word and one story at a time. I dedicate this award to those journalists, to the people who entrust us with their stories, and the readers who support and sustain the Times-Dispatch and other newspapers. I grew up in a three-newspaper home. We got the Times-Dispatch in the morning, we got the Richmond News-Leader in the evening, and we also got the Richmond Afro-American paper, which we knew as the Afro for short. My mom, to this day, is a voracious consumer of news. She unwittingly created a newspaper journalist. My wife, in that way, is an avid reader and the best writer in our household. She's a journalist and published author of a wonderful YA novel, Malcolm and Me. It's no accident that I truly found myself as a journalist around the time that I found her. I'm proud to be a journalist, proud of the people I work with, particularly those who have stayed the course over the decades, even longer than I have, continuing to produce important work. And I'm also proud of the young journalists who entered this profession long after anyone would have advised them to do so. It's truly a calling, as a friend of mine once described it, a ministry. And on our best days, we truly are doing God's work. I'm grateful to the mentors along the way who propped me up when I doubted that there was a place for me in this business, including the African-American journalists who paved the way. I'm grateful to all the colleagues from the moment I entered the newsroom 4 decades ago until today, who helped me realize what I could be and should be. I'm thankful for the aggregation of supported family, friends, and the collective village one amasses in their hometown. And I'm filled with gratitude to receive this honor. Thank you so much.
That was a little bit of applause for you there, Michael Paul. I have a sound machine, and I'm such a fan of yours. And Malcolm and Me, you can bet your wife's getting a call to come help us with the Origin Project. We want all the kids in the state to read her books everywhere. But for you, I mean, the story of your family and the 3 newspapers in the house, and what must have been incredible, lively discussions around the table. And to recognize too, that Virginia is now an immigrant state, and it's evolved. There has been an evolution. We got a lot of work to do, but this big honor for you, it's now in the history books, in our contemporary thought, in a state that really is trying and pushing. And as long as you're on the front lines, I feel very confident we're going to get where we have to be.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're the best. I hope I see you and your wife very soon.
I hope so too.
Oh, I will have some fun. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Michael Paul Williams. I'm going to leave you with these thoughts tonight. As you listen to each of the presenters and you listen to the authors as they won their awards, Michael Paul could not have done a better job at the end to really kind of pull it all together. Because what the Library of Virginia is really about is about your first experience as a reader. And usually that happens in the home. So tonight, when you're putting out your gratitude, think of the people that handed you a book. Your librarians, your teachers, your parents, your brothers and sisters. And honor them by making a donation to our library. There is no state library that compares to the Library of Virginia. And I know my girlfriend's in Texas, and my phone's going to ring off the hook, but we want everybody to have a great state library system. But what you have in Virginia is something very special. As one of the original 13 colonies, the emphasis is on history. And as we have evolved over time, certainly about seeking the truth in the way Michael Paul Williams has done all of his career. Seeking the truth, telling the stories. And I'm thinking, of Jocelyn Nicole, whose book by Monticello just came out. I just talked to her. Annette Gordon-Reed. Nikki Giovanni in poetry. Rita Dove. I could keep going. Why did I say all women after Michael Paul's presentation? Because he talked about his beautiful and brilliant wife. So tonight I leave you with our evermore thanks for attending this beautiful ceremony. We'll be back in person next year. We're sure of it. Once we're all vaccinated as a nation. And I'm sure that that's happening. It's happening. And lots of love to everybody. And thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Dawn Greggs. You can have your wine now. Scott Dodson and the entire team at the Library of Virginia. Really the jewel in the crown of the library system anywhere in our country. Thank you. And we'll see you next year, same time, except in person. Thank you all.